The NonStop Radio Show.
Non-stop hip-hop.
The hottest underground hip-hop and R&B show on this side of the net.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Once again, it's your boy EMillio EgBar. And I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune into tonight's presentation as EJP Entertainment presents the Artist Spotlight. You already know what it is. We at the point of our show where we are joined by tonight's special guest. But before we do so, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you go follow us on IG at EJP_Entertainment to stay up to date with everything related to EJP. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the show. It's your boy EMillio EgBar, and I want to say thank you to each of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune in here to yet another episode of this show. And if you haven't done so yet, folks, it would definitely mean the world to us if you go and follow us right now on IG at EJP_Entertainment to stay up to date with everything related to EJP Entertainment. And also do us a solid, man, for those of y'all out there that would like to check out the video content of this platform, you can head on over to our YouTube channel at EJP Entertainment. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, get updates of when we're dropping brand new content, which is at this rate has been just about every week. So you definitely don't want to miss it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, EJP Entertainment. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we are at the point of our show where we are joined now by our special guest calling in from the Twin Cities. Ladies and gentlemen, this is his third time here on this platform. So help me welcome back to the show, Spoke, how are you, man? Welcome back to the show. How's everything?
Doing good.
That's good to hear, man. So welcome back once again. Like I said just previously, you have been here 3 times now, so you know third time's the charm, as they always like to say. So what is Spoke up to these days? What's been going on with you?
Just the same stuff, trying to get this to work.
Now when you say same stuff and getting this to work, understand that there's new people that may be listening to this platform right now. So like, with that being said, like what do you mean by that?
I'm just making music, just random songs, and just going to work.
Okay.
At my day job.
I hear that. So what are you doing now for a day job? Like, what are you doing when you're not making music?
I'm a factory maintenance mechanic.
Nice. So let me ask you, do you like that career? Is that something that you find yourself doing, or is that just something that's just helping you pay the bills at this moment as you continue to work on your music?
Yeah, you just fix on random machines every once in a while.
No problem. I hear that. So you're back once again. We had you on here, you know, and now you're back to promote a brand new album out that you got called Trash. Now, a lot of people out there is going to be wondering, why would you call your album Trash? Like, is that a reference to your music, or is that just a metaphorical term in which you decided to go with in naming your album?
It's censorship. I couldn't say the word I wanted to and put it on the radio.
I understand that. So shit was what the original name of the album was going to be called.
Yeah.
Oh man, so you're a very peculiar person, man. So like, what would make you come up with that kind of idea to name an album that?
I don't know. I come up with the names. That's the last thing I do. So the songs are actually numbered, and then I try to figure out the name of that, and I put all the names of the songs together and try to figure out an album cover.
Okay, I hear that.
I take the pictures of the album covers long in advance, and I just choose the one I think will fit best for the title I come up with.
I understand. So on the album cover this time around, you have your trademark logo that you go by when you are promoting your music. And in this one, you have a very different approach to it. You have like some outdoor scenery with some work equipment. Is that like near your job, like where you working at?
No, it's by the other album, where I took the picture of the other album cover.
Oh, okay, not a problem.
So it's like, yeah.
No, go ahead. What were you guys say?
One of the album covers is a picture of an oil refinery,
mm-hmm.
and that's one of the decommissioned traps that used to lead there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So with that being said, like this new album Trash, you just put it out on January the 2nd of this year. And what has been the responses that you have gotten so far? Like what was the whole mindset around, this particular album that you have now?
There's really no mindset about it. Just trying to put out good songs.
Okay. All right. So putting out good songs. So like what has been the response been for people that has heard the music that you have put on this particular album?
It's been good.
That's good. That's good. So with that being said, man, like I see now, you have gone another step further and you're going outside of the traditional way of making music, where most of your songs now on this particular album is averaging about maybe 7 minutes per song and everything. So like, what was that about? Like, was that just, being caught in the moment as you was making the songs, or was it just, something that you just wanted to try to go against the modern standard of what music is these days?
It's actually easier for me to make longer songs than short songs.
Now, why would you say that?
Because they're just 4-bar repeats of the same chords.
Mm-hmm.
And since I don't actually write the sheet music, I just kind of do riffs and stuff and layer them on top of each other. So it's way more efficient to do long songs than short ones.
Okay. So you're still the one-man band as you proclaim yourself to be once before when you have been on the show before. So you're still pretty much doing everything when it comes to your music.
Yep.
Cool. Have you thought about working with any other new people or any other artists that could help you, like make the transition or make the process a little bit easier for you with putting your music together and putting it out?
Not yet.
Okay. Do you ever, plan to do so? Or is this just something that you rather just, take this journey alone and continue to, go about your own music, doing things your own way by yourself?
I do get a lot of help along the way, but I don't have like a dedicated team.
Okay. Cool.
I just bump into people, learn what I can, and then bump into someone else.
Okay. So what have you learned recently? I know you still, you take a lot of time of learning new instruments and everything. Like you mentioned just a few minutes ago that you do guitar riffs on, your production, and you got other things that as far as your music that you know how to play and everything. So what's some new instruments that you have learned?
I haven't learned any new instruments yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to get better at the ones I have.
Okay, that's understandable. That's always a good thing. You always want to be a master of your craft and everything. So do you want to stay with, the analog approach, or are you eventually going to venture into the making music digitally, like inside the box, or like working with a program or something?
This is all like digital recordings on a digital recording software.
Okay, cool. So what software are you working with now? Like, what are you using? What is your preference?
The main one is Studio One.
Nice. I like Studio One too. I use that as well. Like, as a matter of fact, even here recording this show, that's what I'm using as well as Studio One. So like, what version are you in now? And I know they just put out a new update. They got Studio One 6 out there right now. So are you still using like the older versions, or have you upgraded to the new Studio One 6?
The first 2 songs I did was on Studio One 4. And then they hacked the license for that and didn't tell me. I had to get the subscription for Studio One 6 that auto updates every year.
Okay.
So my old program just stopped working and I couldn't figure out why.
So now is that was Studio One that, they kind of like cut the license, or is it like, it was just something that, was an error technically when it comes to operating it?
Studio One 4 is like a 5-year-old program.
Mm-hmm.
And they just took the license out, so you have to buy the newer ones.
Oh, okay, I understand. That's crazy because I actually still have some, copies of Studio One 3, Studio One 4, and I'm still currently right now using Studio One 5 myself. So I'm glad I know that now, because it would have been a shame for me to go back and try to use any of the older versions and then come to find out that I couldn't use it, that I had to upgrade to 6 and everything. So how is Studio One 6, man? I hear a lot of people have a lot of different, opinions and take on it. So what's your take on it?
It's the same as 4, but the recording is just a little bit louder.
Okay, cool.
And they changed the amplifiers on the guitar sections. Mm-hmm. So they're different amps now. Okay. But the cabinets are the same.
Okay. That's one thing I hear, that when it comes to Studio One, being that they were just bought out by Fender, I understand now that it's starting to cater more.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes more sense now.
Yeah. Like, I understand. When there was a few YouTubers, that was making mention of the situation with Studio One having been bought out by Fender, and now they're starting to cater more so towards the guitarist when it comes to making the music and everything like that. Do you feel as though that's helped Studio One, or has it hurt Studio One?
The amplifiers they have now are better, but they're more tailored to distortion, which is fine for me. But there aren't a lot of jazz amps on there.
Okay.
So the distortion on new amps get a lot better. You got more distortion. You got more options on them.
Okay.
So not a lot of old school analogs.
Okay. So what is your preference? You like to use the jazzy kind of amplifiers, or do you like the new ones that they have out?
I like the new ones. Okay,
cool. See, now you're making me may have to, go ahead and update. I was kind of looking at either that or Studio One or FL Studio, as far as updating when it comes to music production and using DAWs and stuff like that. So I don't know. I may have to stick with Studio One, man. We'll see what happens with that one, man. But this particular album, let's getting back to this one again. I noticed that you said in this new album is more so a mixture. It's not just one specific genre. So when it comes to that, was this just a thing where you was just experimenting with different types of music, or is this was just something that was kind of this is what you already decided when you sat down to start, the process of creating this album?
All my albums have random songs in there, and my theory is not only do I like making different genres, mixtures, and I like all genres of music, but the way music's being sold now, it's by singles. So I'm thinking I'll just put a bunch of random singles and sell it as an album.
That is true. Do you still like the approach that the industry has right now, as far as promoting singles instead of albums, or do you still try to push out albums but you're just using the formats of singles?
Well, the problem with promoting a single is you can overhype a really bad song real easily. Because if somebody doesn't like that song, they can't go to the next one on the track.
That's true. That is true. So, with this being said, man, like you said earlier, you're still trying to make this work. From the last time that you've been here and even the time before that and all the times in between, how have you felt the traction of your career has gone? Do you feel you're still kind of in the same place? Or do you feel as though things are starting to creep more so in the upward trajectory that you're looking for?
It's always going up, but you can't tell how far it's going up.
Now, what do you mean by that?
It hasn't kicked off yet, but it's definitely getting closer.
Okay. As you get closer, have you considered or reconsidered, doing any performances, or you still just staying in the lane that you're in right now, as far as just, just making the music and just trying to, get an ear for people out there to get them to listen and take the approach that you're on right now?
This is trying to do the same lane, but I'll probably have to change it up after this if this doesn't work.
Okay, so when you mean by changing up, what do you mean by that?
Different marketing strategies.
Okay. So like for the people out there that's listening right now, especially a lot of aspiring artists that, you know, maybe not understanding too much about marketing their music and the importance of it, like how would you describe your current marketing strategy when it comes to promoting your own music? And should you have to, you know, make changes, like what changes are you considering in making?
Well, the algorithm doesn't like me because I can't. None of my songs are categorized individually or as a whole. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing the old school '90s, '80s, talking to people on the radio technique. Because most people I talk to really like my stuff. It just gets pushed out because it doesn't have a category.
Now, do you still believe in the radio as a proper approach to marketing music, or do you feel as though like radio is kind of on the decline and it's best to start looking for other avenues and other means to market and promote your music?
Well, I consider podcasts part of radios, and those are doing well. But it's more like you need to know how to talk. Mm-hmm. You can't just come up here and sell yourself. You have to be kind of, I don't know what the word is.
I would say, you know, the word I would guess you were looking for would say more open or a little more, you know, intimate with the audience. Because one thing I have learned, you know, over the time is, you know, me doing what I do as far as radio is concerned, I've come to understand and realize that, you know, radio is definitely a very intimate, you know, way of reaching people. Because, you know, when it comes to TV and it comes to, you know, like, you know, YouTube and things like that of that nature, you know, people don't really have the chance to really interact with the artist. I mean, not the artist, but really interact with the audience as much as they can through radio. You know, podcasts, they have you know, their strengths and their weaknesses. But also when it comes to radio, like I said, you know, you got people, they can listen to you, you know, they can, you know, call in if the show offers the call-in feature for people to call in and interact with you. And then you also have it where, you know, most of the times, like if you hear a song on the radio, unless it's, you know, one of the, you know, I don't know, I guess one of the top 5 songs that's being pushed on the radio at the time, you know, it's kind of difficult. You won't know when you're going to actually hear that song again. So radio has its strengths and its weaknesses as well, but, you know, it also is one of the most effective ways of reaching more people. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like, you know, there's other ways that's a lot better as far as radio?
For me, this seems like the best way as of now.
Would you recommend any other artists out there that would, you know, look to push their music to come to the radio, or would you advise them to go to other means such as streaming platforms and stuff?
It depends on what type of music. If you got like music that sounds like other people's and you can push it through the social media algorithms, I'd try that first. But if you got like weird stuff you got to do, I think this works better.
Now, this is something that I've been seeing a lot lately, and a lot of conversations I've had with people that are, you know, involved in the music business as well as the industry. And I'm starting to see now that when it comes to a lot of these streaming platforms, you know, I'm not going to mention a lot of them right now because I don't want to, you know, come into any kind of legal issues or whatever the case may be. But I'm starting to see now that there's a lot of streaming platforms that are actually starting to pay artists a lot less than what they would if they were to go to, like, say, a radio station that, you know, is tracked, that, you know, allows artists to recoup royalties from any time their songs is played and everything. How do you feel about that? Have you caught any wind about that as well, or is just this news to you now with me and you talking at this point?
Streaming's always paid really crappy. That's why concert tickets are worth so much. You know, touring like 11 months out of the year. There's really no money in it, in streaming, but the upside is I'm just one person. I'm not like a big whole production company, which is probably the only reason this has a chance of working for me.
Now I have a question with you. With that being said, you know, you said that, you know, streaming has always been, you know, crappy as far as pay, you know, when it comes to royalties for artists having their music on these platforms. But why do you feel as though, or what would you think is the reason why still artists, even though they may know this, still elect to go to the streaming platforms where they know they're going to make a lot less, as opposed to going to other platforms where they can make more, you know, money as far as, you know, radio and podcasts, especially the radio stations that are, you know, tracked and also pay out royalties? Why do you think that they prefer streaming?
Because you can get the song you want when you want it.
Oh, Okay.
It's more like marketing. You have to think of streaming as marketing and not like profit.
Oh, okay. Understandable.
When you're a traditional musician, yeah.
Understandable. I remember you said something about that one time before, you know, where you saying like, you know, when it comes to streaming, the listeners now are the gatekeepers as opposed to the radio hosts and the DJs that spin the music. So when it comes to the streaming, you know, there's more access to, you know, the listener to get the song when they want it at any time, as opposed to, you know, if you're listening to the radio, it's a chance that you may hear that song and there's a chance that you may not. And then you also have a lot of people out there that's looking to, you know, pay money to get themselves on playlists. Like, how do you feel about that?
I've tried that. It didn't work for me because I couldn't get the algorithm out.
Mm-hmm. Algorithms, you know, that's still like really an important and huge thing in music marketing, as you know, as it is like with content creation and whatnot.
Yeah, that's why all the top songs sound the same.
Oh. That's something I don't like. I'm gonna just be completely
I don't like
honest.
it either.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I don't like this whole, you know, this whole era now where it's like everybody gotta be like someone else or sound exactly the same as someone else to be able to catch on. Because it's like, you know, to me it's like the artist's real talent gets pushed to the back burner because they want to sound like somebody else in order to be successful. Whereas, you know, the era I grew up in, you know, it was more so like if you had a distinct sound or uniqueness about your music, you stood out more as opposed to now. Like, why do you like? Do you have a theory or maybe like a feeling as to why it's like this now?
There are multiple theories, but my main one is people want to stay comfortable with what they know and kind of want to be told what to do. So like if it recommends a song like the song's already listened to, it's just going to keep recommending similar ones to that. Doing the same ideas over and again.
Do you think that people will ever, you know, break away from this whole like trying to sound like everyone else and get back to originality in music? Or do you feel as though like this is here to stay and it's just, you know, more so just waiting for the next trend to come about for, you know, artists to catch on to and go follow?
I think it's going to be more trends for the foreseeable future.
I mean, I understand it, you know, especially the way, you know, the music industry has evolved over years. But me, I'm still a big advocate of, you know, creativity and originality when it comes down to it. You know, I'm only one person and I'm the only one, you know, that can have this kind of thought. But, you know, I'm pretty sure there's other people out there, you know, my opinion is my own, and I'm pretty sure there's other people out there that may think differently. But me, myself, I'd rather see originality and creativity come back instead of, you know, everybody just trying to sound the same and being comfortable. You know, I want to see artists get out there, take more risk, and try different things that, you know, will help them be more, you know, successful with music instead of just feeling like they have to follow somebody else's blueprint.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So with that being said, man, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, nothing.
Okay. So with that being said, man, before we get ready to wrap everything up, I just want to know for the people out there that are listening right now that would like to take, you know, a listen to your new album, that would like to, you know, look for you on your, you know, website and stuff like that, because I know you don't really do social media as much as everyone else does. How can they find you?
I have a website called spokeofficial.com. If you just look up my album Trash, Spoke, it should be it should be in every streaming platform.
Now let me ask you, on your website, do you go by the original name of the album or do you still call it Trash?
I still call it Trash. There's no uncensored version.
Okay, cool.
Or radio edits or nothing.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering, but would you ever, you know, explore that idea, like to, you know, have uncensored?
When I can take the risk, yeah.
Nah, I understand that. And when you say that, you know, when you can take the risk, like, what do you mean by that?
Well, I gotta promote everywhere I can. I have to be a little bit more like safer with my songs, with the songs I'm promoting. I do have cursing on some of them, but not like the ones I'm promoting, and I can't put that on the album too because we can't say that. some places.
Now, question, like with that being said, you know, like I know a lot of artists, you know, especially nowadays, I'm starting to see it when it comes to social media. A lot of artists are starting to take an approach where they want to be more close to their fan base, want to be closer to their listeners and engage with them more on a more intimate level. Do you see yourself ever doing that as well? Like maybe like, you know, do some things like say social media wise where you're doing some, you know, streaming event and you're actually taking a Q&A session with, you know, the people that listen to your music?
Not unless I'm forced to.
Why would you be forced to?
A few days ago. I was forced. The marketing company says I have to do this. Like, okay.
Now, like forcing. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, you know, they made you do it, or like, is this something that you know they recommended and you just say, you know, let me just go ahead and try it and see how it works?
Yeah, they recommended very heavily.
Okay. Now, did you enjoy the experience?
Yeah. But I'm afraid if I don't show up enough, they're just gonna hack me on good opportunities. So I try to show up to everything they recommend me to.
Now let me ask you, man. This is like a real question I want to know because you know a lot of people fail to realize that there's a human element when it comes to being an artist, and a lot of artists are pushed to do things that they often wouldn't do or they often don't like to do. Like overall, when it comes to this approach, you know, having to get out here, you know, go to speaking engagements as far as like, you know, appearing on radio shows or podcasts and, you know, also maybe having to engage in a not so comfortable situation where you're having to do like Q&A with some of the, you know, the listeners and audiences that listens to your music. How do you really feel about doing this? Like, does it make you feel uncomfortable? Is this something that you like to do? Or is this you just rather just make the music and just put it out there and let people, you know, do the talking for you?
Yeah, I don't like doing this. I'd rather just make it. But I gotta get people to listen to it first.
Yeah, that's one thing, man, because I see a lot of people, you know, they don't have a real, well, I don't want to say a real, but a lot of people don't like being or coming off as being vulnerable to other people. So, you know, it's a little difficult.
That's not it. That's not it for me.
So
I just don't like talk. I just like saying to myself most of the time.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you in general, but I'm just saying like, you know, overall, you do have a lot of people that are afraid to be, you know, vulnerable when it comes to, you know, putting their life out there or putting their not their entertainment, but putting their, you know, their art on display. So a lot of them are a little apprehensive when it comes down to doing that. And you know, stating that you don't really like to talk that much, I kind of understand that.
I only have one unfinished song that I've ever made, recorded, and I've kind of used that in a different song. So everything I make has been put out there.
Okay. So when it comes to
I
the
don't
music,
have that problem.
So when it comes to the music that you have now, like how much music do you have out there that you know of right now?
I have 5 albums. I did have an EP that was like more of a marketing wash down to one of my albums, but I did with a local producer, but I took that one down.
Got you. So before we get ready to go, man, do you have any last words or anything that you would like to say to the people before we get ready to sign off?
Nope.
No problem, man. Well, Spoke, we thank you once again for coming back onto this platform. We do appreciate you, you know, for utilizing the opportunity and coming up here and talk to the audience and also, you know, making an appearance. And for everybody else out there, man, definitely keep it locked right here to the show. It's your boy EMillio EgBar, and we'll be back with much more right after this.
My innocence astray. thinking about you and me were so free till you destroyed me. Can you